we had 14 booked.
I know, it's now on them.
Yeah, I've not even booked on them. I'm meant to be on a course, so I've got this one.
But it does give us the opportunity to engineer our own success if we do this right, and if we approach it with the vigor and enthusiasm combined with the skills that we develop, we can have and contribute significantly to our own success. So I hope you enjoyed this morning. It's scheduled to finish maybe about 1:30. I should be finished my presentation definitely by then. There will be an opportunity for Q&A if you just put them into the Q&A function, and Louise will go through the questions towards the end. But I'm not going to rush off. If you want to, for those of you who have the time, if you want to stay on, I'd be glad to add as much value as I can and to make this worth your while today. So let's kick off. So what we're going to cover today is we're going to look at why we would invite to our core group. It's important that we understand what our motivations are, that we're clear about those motivations, and then we can actually build on those motivations for our own success. But it's no harm to just go back and revisit why do we do it. Okay, we're looking at the mindset for success. So this is something. This could be a new endeavor for some people. It can be challenging for some people. It can be exciting for others. But if we get the mindset right, it can make the inviting an awful lot easier and an awful lot more fruitful for you in ways that you haven't perhaps thought about yet. I'm going to talk about some simple ways to invite, and hopefully you'll find those useful. And I'm going to give you my 5 top tips. Okay, watch out for number 3. I think it's the best one myself. But anyway, and there's going to be plenty of time for Q&A. As I say, I'm not going to I'm not going to rush off. So here we go. So why do we invite to our core group? Well, really, it's about growing our business. So it's about growth, but it's in growing our referrals and growing our network, or the way I like to look at it, it's increasing our referral opportunities. The more people we know, and the more people we know well, if we have a wide network, but if we have a deep network, a lot more referral opportunities arise because we get to know people, they get to know us, we trust each other, and so on, and opportunities arise because of that. This, of course, leads to an increased amount of business. We add to the turnover of our respective businesses. And at the end of the day, that's usually why we're all here. It's to do more business in our own enterprise, to add turnover to what we do, to create employment, or to create the life that we want. And by doing referrals, it makes it a lot simpler. I think the referrals comes back to the 3 E's of why we do referrals. It's effective in terms of we're introduced to people who are in the market for what we do, and we measure that, and that's why it's both effective and efficient. We're introduced to people who are in the market for what we do, and we're being put forward as a trusted solution provider. So the conversion rate of referral into sale is higher, and therefore it's both effective and efficient. And that comes back to the 3rd E, which makes it all more enjoyable, because we're all very, very passionate about what we do. We're all very, really, really into the quality of services and the products we have, and all the good things that we provide, and the positive impact that we have on our customers and clients. Some of us don't like to sell it. And because of that, being referred in to somebody who's in the market for what we do makes it even more enjoyable. So if we have an effective, efficient, and enjoyable way to do business, it's a nice place to be, and that's why we do referrals. But we do that, guys, we do that by increasing our contacts, or our connections, or as I like to call it, our social capital. And our social capital is a bit like, it's like a good pension, right? If we want to be able to take out of this and dip into this social capital, we need to invest in it now so that we can reap the rewards in the future. And we do that in a BNI context through visitors and interacting with visitors, inviting visitors, interacting with visitors, giving them a good experience. And some of them will want to get involved with what we're doing, some of them won't. That's okay. Right, so that's why. So let's look at the inviting mindset, which I think is the biggest element that we need to get right. Okay, and this is ourselves. This is looking at ourselves in terms of how we invite, but why we invite, and what is our approach when we're inviting. It's not about the technicalities of what we say or what we do, or whether we use email or pick up the phone or messaging or whatever it is. This is about ourselves. And I like to spend a little bit of time on this one, because I think this is the most important element of what we're going to look at today. But it's about using our time wisely, and to be prepared to invest in our own business, and investing time in inviting to, whether it's your core group or whether it's your relaunch group or whether it's an existing group. you're investing time in your own business. When you're inviting somebody to potentially come in and meet you or meet your referral partners, meet your chapter, you're actually developing that social capital that we talked about. So if you think about it in the context, the difference between being referred to somebody and being invited to a chapter, if you're referred to somebody, usually, most of the time, you're referred onto one person. And hopefully when you deliver a very, very good job, a very, very good service, they in turn refer you to somebody else. They may refer you to 2 or 3 people, but it's usually one introduction at a time, usually. When you invite a visitor to a chapter, or when you invite multiple visitors to a chapter, there's a connection of many to many. So there's many people meeting many other people, and the opportunities for business are greater. There's exponential opportunities when we invite visitors to a chapter, regardless of whether they ever apply for membership. You're investing in your social capital here. So it's a good use of your time to kind of sit back and kind of go, right, what sort of opportunities have I here to build a good referral partnership team around me? What opportunity have I here to build my social capital? And by planning out who you're going to invite, but getting the mindset right, you have an opportunity to engineer that chapter for your success. So you're investing your time into your own business. And I think if we approach it that way, you're going to find that the results are much more fruitful for you in all sorts of ways. So the next little bit in terms of the mindset, I think is very, very important, is to remember what's in it for the visitor. Okay, so what's in it for somebody to come along to either your core group or your existing chapter? What's in it for them? Okay, because this is the really important part of it. So the giver's gain mindset is about reaching out there, helping other people, and in return, that's going to come back to you over time. Okay, so if we have the same approach when we're inviting, I think you'll find it a lot easier. It makes it a lot easier for ourselves. So if you think about it this way, I'm inviting business owners to a business meeting where they could do more business. Okay, so I'm inviting business owners to a business meeting where they could do more business. Okay, now most business people, given enough notice, where they're going to be invited to a business meeting where they could potentially do more business, most people are going to accept. Okay, they may not accept because they have prior commitments, or they have enough business, or they don't understand what they're being invited to. But genuinely, if you have a business owner who knows that they're going to a business meeting where they could potentially do more business, you'll find you get a much higher success rate in terms of getting your visitors to come along to your meeting. But it's always that approach, what's in it for them. And you'll notice there, we're not inviting anybody to come along and be part of the group. Nobody can join anyway. We have to apply, and we're not going to apply until we see, who's there and what's going on. Like if you think about it, when you invite somebody who could potentially become part of your referral team in BNI, they're not really investing in the success system that is BNI in terms of the structure, because it's not very, very visual sometimes before they come along to a meeting. They're not investing in the training and the education programs that BNI provide because they don't know what they are. And they're not really investing in a structure because they don't understand it yet. So when they do put in an application, what are they investing in then? But my own opinion is that they're investing of the goodwill of the people around the room who seem to understand the system, who seem to understand and appreciate the structure, and who value the education and the training that they get. And they're also investing in the goodwill of the people around the room to help them to grow their business. So they cannot see that in an invitation. They can only see that when they come along to a business meeting, because they're motivated to help themselves and help their own business. And when they see the good people that are involved, how you're interacting with each other, how you're helping each other, you can look like a very, very attractive proposition from their perspective, and then they can submit an application if they like. Okay, and if they're good enough for you guys, you can accept them into your group. But if you approach it that way, I'm inviting a business owner to a business meeting where they could do more business. Pretty hard to go wrong. Okay, so but this is us, and this is our mindset in terms of where we're coming from. So just like any business decision that these business owners can make, and this is why I asked you to grab a pen and paper, is some will. Okay, so some will accept your invitation to come along to your meeting, and some won't. Okay, that's their business decision, and don't be deflated or upset that somebody didn't accept your invitation. This is their business decision. So some will, some won't. The third SW is so what for now, okay? And that's more about us and how we manage our feelings and our emotions to this, because it is just a business decision that they're making, and we don't need to kind of feel too rejected in relation if they decline our invitation. So, but it's so what for now, okay? The timing mightn't be right for them, or the proposition, they may not be able to handle more business, or they may not be able to make the meeting that morning, or they may have some issues in relation to phobias about technology or something. Who knows what's going on in their lives at the moment? It's okay. So what for now? But it's for now. So the fourth SW is so when do we think would be a good time to come back to this person? Because they're in our pipeline. Okay. Now they mightn't be in our pipeline for becoming a member, but they might be in our pipeline to do business with again. They might be in a pipeline to be part of our social capital. Okay. So when could we go back to them? Or another way of looking at that fourth SW would be, so who else from my group might know them a bit better, and now that our group is more established, or whatever the case is, or because a person has a better relationship with them, maybe they could go back. Maybe they should be the person to invite them to our group. So just go through those four SWs again. Some will, some won't. So what for now? And the last one is so who or so when. Okay, so who or so when. But that's really about us in terms of our inviting mindset. And I think if we can, we cannot control what other people do or how they react or whether they turn up or not. We cannot control that. But what we can control is our own input into it. And this makes it easier. It makes it more enjoyable. And it also makes it much more rewarding if you're building your own contacts as you're going through the inviting process as well. Okay. So as I said, people have to come along to see BNI to experience it, because what BNI is the people who are there. Okay, we can talk about BNI being a world class and the biggest referral organization in the world. They run very well run, enjoyable, structured meetings, but they're only enjoyable and structured if you're there to see them. So in order for a person to actually take in what BNI is about, they actually have to see it, and they have to see who's involved, and they have to watch the interactions and the personalities and the presentations and the energy and the relationships that have already been built. And this is how you actually get to experience what BNI is. And think about it when you were invited along the very first time. It's a while for some of us, I appreciate, but you know, what impressed us the most was the people, and how they interacted with each other, how they helped and supported each other, to develop themselves, to develop their business, and so on. And it can be a lot to take in on the first day, but you do have to see it. And sometimes we're inviting somebody for the first time to come along to, we can get a little bit nervous about it. We don't know what to say. We don't know how to kind of to get over or how to approach it, or how to get over our own fears of rejection, which comes back to the previous slide, what we were looking at. And sometimes we can feel a little bit nervous, right? And it can be like asking somebody out on a on a first date, all right? So, but if I can help you with this one, and again, it's got to do with mindset. It's to keep it fairly casual. Okay. Remember, they need to see what it's about. They need to experience the people in the room. So maybe what I would suggest to you is to keep it along the lines of how you would invite somebody over for a barbecue. Is the way I like to look at it. Okay. And it's a bit like, if somebody said to you, yeah, we're having a barbecue. It's nice and sunny outside. We'll pretend it is. It's nice and sunny outside. We're having a barbecue. There's going to be a few people there. We're going to do some food, have a bit of music, and there's a couple of drinks, and we'll just take it easy and have a nice chat or whatever. Okay. Most people would, if they're available, they're going to accept our invitation to a barbecue. They might like the food, they might like the company, they might like the music, they might like being outdoors, or they might like to just get away from whatever they're dealing with. But chances are they're going to come along because they know that they're going to enjoy something, they're going to experience something that's going to be pleasurable for them. Okay, and whatever way you word whatever way you express or articulate your invitation, I would work it in such a way that it does spell out the benefits for them, and keep it fairly casual. It's non-committal. You can come along to my business group. It may work for you, I don't know, but you'll know yourself when you see it kind of stuff. Keep it nice and casual, because if we go too overboard in telling people that they should get involved, before they've seen anything. We're making their business decisions for them. And we're putting pressure on them to think that they need to become involved in something they haven't seen yet. And I suppose that's akin to basically proposing marriage. Okay, we're actually on the first date, we're proposing marriage, telling them that they should be getting involved in things like that, where we don't know. They don't know yet. They need to come along and see and experience what it's about. Come along and see if they can get business. See if there's potential for them to do business. Give them the opportunity to talk about their business, what sort of help they're looking for, what sort of referrals will be good for them. Okay, and if they like what they see, they can put in an application. Whether if you're an existing group, the membership committee can go through with them and see if it's a good fit for everybody. If it's a launch group, your director team can go through, make sure it's a good fit for them, and so on. That we can genuinely help them. So what I would say there is, when you're inviting it, and again, it's mindset, is do it in more of a way that you're inviting somebody to a barbecue, as opposed to proposing marriage. Okay, I hope that helps in terms of mindset. Okay, so just this is something we do in our region when we're looking at building core groups, in particular, depending on where you are. But at the very, very beginning, this might be helpful to you. I'm sure some of you would have seen the movie. Some of you would have read the book by John Grisham called The Firm. But that just tees me up for an anagram here of the kind of categories that you can build the chapter around very, very quickly. The F stands for financial advisors and anything to do with financial accountants, bookkeepers, payroll bureaus, IT companies, that kind of thing. And the I is around insurance brokers and insurance loss assessors. The R has to do with real estate, so real estate agents or auctioneers, as we call them in this neck of the woods, letting agents, valuers, property managers, those type of people. And the M is for mortgages, so mortgage brokers, solicitors, engineers, and architects, anybody involved in that process or that sphere. Now, if you look at the screen, most of these businesses here, they tend to have a client base. They tend to have opportunities to provide multiple services or multiple layers of services to their clients. They tend to have opportunities to have regular dealings with them, and opportunities for business throughout the year, or certainly on a regular basis. Also, the business that they provide to their customers can increase over time, and so on. So what we tend to find is with these categories that we often focus on at the very early stages of core groups, is that they value being involved in a network. They value having a client base. They value the referrals that they potentially are going to receive, but they also look a little bit longer term. So they're looking ahead. They're securing business for 6 months ahead, a year ahead, and the repeat business the year after that. That's what they're looking at. So they tend to have a good mindset in terms of building core groups and building smaller chapters or even bigger chapters. If you have these people, they tend to value a lot their network, their social network, and they understand the power of networking. So they can be good people to accelerate the progress of your chapter if you don't have them already. And also, if you look at those, most of those businesses are actually valued on their client base. If they were to sell their business, they're often valued on their client base. So they do put a significance on being surrounded by the right type of people, and being surrounded with multiple opportunities for word of mouth business. So just a little tip for you there, depending on where your group is at in terms of its development. Okay, there's loads of mechanisms. I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on this because I think your directors will go through this, but just a couple of ideas. Invite people you like, and you trust. It's a very, very good place to start, and they're easier conversations to have. Go through your phone contacts. Ask yourself the usual questions: Are they in business? Are they local? Would you trust them? Is that category already taken? Okay. If not, if they're the right fit, if you can answer all of those questions positively, they could be a good invitation for you, or for one of your colleagues to invite them along, depending on who knows them better. Okay. But your phone contacts, we have hundreds and thousands of contacts in our phone. Sometimes because we don't speak to them very often, we forget about them. But actually, if you spend a little time scrolling through, you'll find a lot of people there. Use social media. It's a very, very good tool in the right hands, okay? And maybe take direction from your directors on this one. There's some brilliant messages out there that can actually attract and trigger a lot of interaction on social media for the right reasons, if it's done in the right way. But perhaps take a little guidance from your directors in relation to this. Okay? Stack days are a good one. So if you're looking to fill a particular category, for example, a solicitor in your chapter, maybe bring 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 on the same day. Put an effort that everybody puts into invite as many of, for example, solicitors on that particular day, and ideally you get to pick them the best one. So And that's the idea. These are candidates is the way to look at it, rather than these are people who will actually come along and apply. What we're looking for is candidates to consider for the roles that we're going to be working with these guys for months and several years ahead. So we want to get the right people that are going to work with. Okay, one-to-one brainstorming. So I'm sure you're doing one-to-ones, and I'm sure you talk about business and talk about referrals and how you would refer each other, and how you can introduce each other and so on. But a very good way to bring it into your one-to-ones, particularly in core groups, and I know even further down the line in existing chapters, but always bring into your one-to-ones who would be good to invite, not who would be good to have in the chapter, but who would be good to invite along to the group that we could actually create more business for each other. And I always bring that into our one-to-one discussions. Go through your last 10 customers, your last 10 suppliers, your supply chain, go through that, but also look at who are the last 10 people you met on a job, okay? What are the opportunities there for, synergies in the way you work, and the opportunities that you're going to have to refer work to each other on a regular basis. If this is easy, if it's efficient and if it's effective, we're going to be able to copy and paste this and bring other people into this particular sphere as well, that they could benefit and they could get a lot of work, and it will reciprocate to you as well. So have a look at your last 10 customer suppliers and the last 10 people you met, or your supply chain really. Follow your money is a very easy one to do. Look at where you're spending your money. From a business context, it can be a bit easier because you can kind of go through your accounts and see, well, where did I buy my computers? Where did I buy my printers? Where did I buy the office furniture? Who supplies our light and heat, and who does all these kind of stuff. You can go through your suppliers, your insurance, your web design, your printing, all of that kind of stuff. They're easy to do. But maybe from a domestic point of view, it's just to sit in a room in your house, and just take a look around your room. If you're in the sitting room, for example, where did you buy the carpet? Where did you buy the furniture? Who did the decorating? Who did the curtains and the blinds? Who painted the room? And these could be people who are local. You've done business with them. If you like what they've done, and if they're good, trustworthy, and a nice attitude, why not invite them to their group? So, and you can do that in every single room, and you'll actually end up with a load of people to potentially invite to your chapter. And of course, leverage your own contacts. So reach out to people that you do know, like, and trust. They may not even be in business yourselves, but they're in your contact sphere. So maybe talk to your family, talk to your social group, and just say, look, would you recommend somebody good, or where did you buy your car, or where did you get your car serviced, or I like the curtains you just put up, where did you buy them, that kind of stuff. And you can leverage those contacts and make a good introduction to. It's easier to get introduced to people once you've been recommended to them. Okay, I'm conscious of time, so I kind of want to move on fairly quickly. So I'm going to give you three quite simple but effective inviting techniques. The first one is GRIP. Now, GRIP again is an anagram, and it's about it's grow, referrals, invitation, and place. Okay, grow, referrals, invitation, and place. And this is a very effective way of actually inviting people. And if you're thinking about somebody who and you can, or you don't even need to know them that well, but you can have a conversation with them, and it'll come up. Are you busy? How's business? Whatever the case is, but whatever question you ask them, really what you're asking them in a roundabout sort of way is, are they looking to grow? Have they enough business? Have they capacity for more business? So if the answer is in the affirmative to that, if the answer is yes, they're looking to grow their business or they can handle more business, you could ask them, is word of mouth, or are referrals, are they a key or an important source of referrals for you? And if the answer is positive to that or in the affirmative, you can talk about, well, look, I'm involved in a local business development group. It may be able to help you. We think we might be able to help you. Would you like an invitation? So you're actually getting permission to send them an invitation. So would you like an invitation to meet them? I can arrange it for you. And if they say yes, again, you're getting the affirmative. Then you just confirm the place. At the moment, we're reaching a very, very safe environment. You couldn't be more socially distant and safe than we meet online. And it's very convenient, and you can log on from your own home or your own business, and you can interact and promote your business there. And let's see how we can help you. Okay, so what we're looking for, it's something that needs to be practiced a little bit so that you become comfortable with it. But again, are they looking to grow? Yes. Are referrals important to them? Yes. Would they like an invitation? And that's the key. Would you like an invitation? And then you just confirm the place. Okay. Another one to consider is candidates. Okay, so this is kind of the reverse of that. So you could be talking to, we'll say somebody who's a flooring specialist, for example. Okay, so you could be talking to a flooring specialist that you know or that you've used, and you could say, look, I was at a business development group meeting this morning, local business development group, and we're actually looking for, or they are looking for, a good flooring specialist to refer work to. Would you be comfortable if I put your name forward as a candidate? And if you aren't, would you like to come along and meet them, and I can put in a good word for you? Okay, that could be another way of doing it. Again, what I like about that is it's a candidate, and candidates apply. It's not, we just don't go in and join. So we need to get the right people. And the third one I wanted to just mention to you is just saying thank you. So if somebody does business with you, has placed a bit of business with you, has spent money with you, it can be a nice one just to pick up the phone or whatever way you want to communicate with them and say, look, I appreciate the business that you've passed. I really appreciate you keeping it local, and I'd like to return the favor. If you're interested, I'd like to introduce you to my local business development group. We're looking to actually refer somebody in your category. I like what you do, and I really appreciate your business. So if you're interested, I'd like to return the favor and send you an invitation. So they're just three simple ways to do it. But I'm going to finish off with my 5 top tips, and then if Louise has any Q&A or anything that wants to talk about, I'm not going to rush off. But my top 5 tips. So watch out for tip number 3, by the way. Right. So my tip one is put time into building your chapter. It is your future success. We're investing in our pension now so that we can reap the awards in the years to come. And it's our social capital. Okay, we put the work in now. Chapters last for decades. Okay, and if we get the foundation right and we engineer it right at the beginning, the rewards are going to come to us for years and years to come. Number 2 is find what inviting mechanism works for you. I didn't spend too long on mechanisms and stuff today because that's not what I wanted to talk about really, and I don't think that's a different type of half hour. But find what works for you. Okay, not everything, not the same. What works for some people doesn't work for everybody, and what works with one invitee will not work with another. Find what you're comfortable at, but you'll only find what you're comfortable at if you try a few different things. Okay, so but if you don't try, you won't know, and you learn along the way. Okay, the third one, and my favorite of all time really, is to invite people who you think will invite. Okay, this actually just work from the neck up, right? Get them to do some of the work for you. So when you're inviting, invite people who you think will invite with them. So invite people who you think are well connected, who have good energy about them, who are really, really positive people, and when they get stuck into something, they're really, really enthusiastic with it. And you will find when you work with them, they bring the best out in you, and between you and the team that you already have, you will find that the group just grows very, very quickly, but with the right type of people and with the right attitude. Okay, number 4 is manage your biggest competition. Okay, so in BNI, when we apply, one of the reasons that we do is we lock out our competition, or we lock out our trade competition anyway. Our biggest competition in BNI, the biggest person, the person who's most likely to stop all of us succeeding is ourselves. Okay, and the excuses we make, the roadblocks we put in our way. We're too busy for this, or we haven't time for that, or I'm afraid of trying something new or whatever. Our biggest competition is ourselves, and if you can remove your biggest competition from the equation, and actually develop your skills and get over whatever challenges you're having. And by the biggest one in BNI is reach out for help if you don't know something. There are so many people here to help everybody. Everyone's invested in everybody else's success. So that's the key. Manage your biggest competition. And my last tip, and I'll finish up with this before handing over to Louise, is invite to a barbecue, guys. Don't propose marriage. Thank you. Louise, over to you.
That was brilliant. Thank you so much, Tim. That was really, really helpful. Have we got any questions? If you have any questions for Tim, can you pop it in the Q&A? You'll see that there's a chat box and a Q&A box. So if you do have any questions for Tim, he's happy to stay on and just answer any that you may have. Biggest things for me that I picked up, I really like inviting people to your local business development group. I thought that's great. It's such a nice way of putting it, because for me, inviting someone to BNI just invites all the questions then of what's BNI, and that's when you end up proposing marriage instead of inviting to a barbecue. A local business development group. It's really on the tin.
It's really well. That's what we are. If you think about it, we're a local business development group with regional and international connections and opportunities. But from a basic perspective, and when a visitor comes along, that's what we are. It's a local business development group, and it's a bit easier to explain our ethos and our approach when we're
absolutely
inviting people. Yeah.
Absolutely. If you do need to go, it's not a problem. We promised it'd be around the 30-minute mark, so no problem. We're just going to hang on. If you do want to hang on and pop any questions in, that would be great. I've got one question in from Kieran, who has said, what inviting mechanism should we focus on for online invitations? Are you finding any particular success in your region, or is it really just?
Yeah, actually, I could share a couple of things that are working quite well. It's over the phone, but it's over the phone with a little twist, if you don't mind. What some of our core groups are doing, and some of our existing chapters are doing, is they're doing inviting sessions. So basically, they come online, and if you think about it, inviting can be quite lonely. You know, if you're, one after another, and if you're not getting the response you want, it can be, it can be lonely. So what they do is they invite in groups. So they're coming, they might put an hour or maybe 2 hours aside, maybe once a week, and they just come onto the group. They decide what categories they're inviting in, and they pick up the phone and start inviting. And then every 15 minutes, they check in with each other to see how they got on, what progress they made, hold each other a little bit accountable, find out what worked for each other, and we're getting good numbers that way. So, but
that's good. So doing it as a group.
As a group, yeah.
As a group, I like that. So hopefully that answered that question there for you, Kieran. I've got another one here from Jackie Kenny. I find it difficult if potential visitors ask if it costs to join. I don't want it to sound like pyramid selling because it isn't. Any suggestions?
I love that one. Thank you, Jackie. That's my favorite question. It costs nothing to attend, and it only costs for a member if their application is successful. That's the way I like to look at it. And
I like that.
The way I tend to answer that in a very soft kind of approach. Hopefully I'll soften that now in a minute. But it's like, if somebody says to me, what's the cost to become a member? When I say, look, I'm not sure what it is in the UK, but in Ireland it's 885 plus VAT. So I say, look, it's 885 plus VAT for a member, but it costs absolutely nothing to visit. Okay, it's actually, and you can come along and see if it works for your business. If you think that you get a good return, absolutely put in an application and good luck.
Excellent.
Yeah, I like that. It costs nothing to visit.
It costs nothing to visit, but obviously if you want to get involved, I think Jackie said thank you. She gets that. Rob McGuinness is like, nothing in life is free. Absolutely nothing worth having is free. We've got a question here from Stephen Milligan. It says, are there any rules around using the BNI logo, etc., on personal business websites and social? Not so much a visitor. I'm just going to assume it's in the visitor inviting context. I mean, for as far as I'm aware, correct me if I'm wrong, it's as long as it's business branded, there's no reason why you can't use the proud member logo, things like that.
Yeah.
If you're unsure, ask your DC. That's the best way. If you're not sure, ask your DC. But we have, in our region, we have Facebook groups, we have the chapter website, so the BNI logo is all over the place. So as long as you're using stuff from BNI branding, I don't think there's any problem there. Do you, Tim?
No, it's fine. And again, just to double check, just check with your director, make sure everything you're doing is okay. And any of those kind of ideas, you'll normally find that you're encouraged as long as you're adhering to the guidelines.
Yeah. I've got a question from Blake. Blake always likes to make everyone feel ask the awkward questions. Thanks, Blake. He wants to know what your most challenging experience you've had with regard to inviting.
Probably the most challenging one, Blake. Thank you for the awkward question. Probably the most challenging ones was in the early days. I was very enthusiastic about inviting people. I couldn't see why any business person wouldn't want to come along to a meeting where they could do so much business, because I was doing well myself, and it didn't actually make any sense to me why somebody would say no. So what I did was I spent a lot of time kind of considering, where are they coming from? What is their reasons and so on. And I found I got less and less challenges after that. But one of the most challenging ones, and I think this is for me, in my own way, in terms of how I researched it and the answers that I got, but also the subsequent results when I looked at it this way, is the biggest challenge when inviting is some people perceive that you're inviting them to join something. And if you can actually take that out of the equation, you know, and even if they say it to you, because I've had it, and you know, I'll invite somebody to a local business meeting. I will never have mentioned applying or anything like that, but somebody else might have invited them in a different way. And you have to take that into account. I remember I was in the middle of buying a suit one day, and the guy was complaining that he wasn't doing much business, and I invited him to a group, and his answer in the middle of helping me to put the jacket on was, "I'm not joining that." Okay, and I just said to him, I don't think they'd accept you, you know, and they basically that stopped him, right? And then it just gave me the opportunity to explain to him, look, that's not why you're being invited. Come along, let's see if we can help you to do some business. You said it's quiet. I'm reaching out to you and try and help you. And look, if you like it, you can apply. They may accept you, of course, but I got his attention. And but it's to manage that the misconceptions and the preconceptions that some people have when you invite them, that you are inviting them to join, you know, which we're not doing.
Brilliant, thank you.
Hopefully, Blake, that answered the question.
Yeah, it was great, thank you. And I've got Christy's just asked a question. Would it be better to push the invites for the meeting as an online meeting at the moment, or to mention that when we can, we'll be meeting up with a breakfast?
Well, it depends on what you're doing in the region, Louise, I suppose, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, the plan is for every chapter to go back. For me, I think personally at the moment is invite them to an online meeting. I think the going back face to face is a question and something for them to consider if they choose to apply. That's when it becomes that's when it sort of becomes with the question, you know, the payment element of it. This is what it costs, this is what will happen. What I would say is be mindful of who you invite with regard to access if and when you go back to Bramall. So you can always Bramall's where Christy's chapter is. So is think about the location of where they are. There's no point inviting somebody that's 50 miles away to come along and visit.
But there is an opportunity there, Louise, for Christy to invite people who, if they were face to face at the moment, may not have the opportunity to see BNI. And like I said earlier on, BNI is very visual. You have to see it.
Yeah.
So and remember, you're just inviting them to come along, talk about their business, see how we can help them out. Absolutely, invite as many people as you can to see what you guys do at the moment. Yeah. And everybody you invite gets to see your referral partners, gets to see how they do business, and they could potentially become a customer, a supplier, a colleague of theirs as well. So it's win-win for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got just on that, Christy, you just mentioned there about making sure they understand about breakfast fees for when you do go back to face. If the orientation is being done well and properly, and it's also in the chapter agenda when the Secretary Treasurer gives out the cost, they do mention that there is a breakfast fee when you go back online. So as long as all that's been done okay, you don't need to preempt that in there. It'll be done in the meeting. The meeting's doing it for you.
Most visitors are coming to one meeting anyway.
Exactly.
That's the way to look
so I think that's it, unless we've got any more questions. But that was really, really useful. Thank you so much for coming and doing that, Tim.
Thank you, Louise, and thank you to everybody, and thank you for all of those questions, including Blake's one. I enjoyed that as well. Thank you very much. Loved it. I hope I've had value. If I could, again, the main thing is to, just follow the 5 tips. I think you cannot go wrong with those. You'll find what works for you, but you're using your time wisely to build your business for the future. So it's a little bit of work now for long-term sustainable gain and benefit. So.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thanks very much, Tim. Okay, thanks everybody. That's all done. Thank you very much for joining us. I have got a recording of this for anyone that wants to see it that wasn't able to make it, and I can share that recording, and I've also got a copy of your top 5 tips as well, if anybody wants a copy of those. So that's it. That's all done. I'm going to stop the recording.
And thank you everybody for